What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls and Utah Jazz game reaction as the Chicago Bulls, after a wasted opportunity, and I'm gonna keep saying that, against the Sacramento Kings, we obviously versed a much harder team in the Utah Jazz away from home, and we ended up picking, I think personally, an expected loss. But at the end of the day, in these situations where the Bulls have to win games, we continue to fall just a little bit short. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today. Who was your player of the game? Your overall thoughts and opinions on how the Bulls played. We lost this game 125 to 110, and these are the types of losses at the end of the day they're very much hurt. But the Bulls in the recent stretch of games have been going very much on a negative stretch of games. Again, we had a 4-game losing streak prior to our win against Detroit and Cleveland, and now we're back on the losing end against Sacramento and Utah, and things are looking very bleak for the Chicago Bulls at the moment. And I can always say the same things when it comes to this team. Defensive issues is still a big thing for the Chicago Bulls. Us not playing with a sense of urgency that we come to expect, and really the fourth quarter of this game is again probably the joke of the Chicago Bulls. Same with the second quarter. I thought our second quarter wasn't great either, but at the end of the day, there are just certain things in this game that really opened the game up. I thought in the very first half, a little bit into the third quarter as well, these games, these players, the way that we're playing was very tight. But in the fourth quarter, our defense began to become much weaker. We ended up committing a lot of fouls, setting them to the free throw line in the fourth quarter. They scored 36 to 29, which is the big deficit, and that extended into how they won by 15 points, ladies and gentlemen. But that's not it. There's a couple of things that the Chicago Bulls did wrong today, and I'm going to, I guess, try to be very calm while I say these types of things, but all of you guys are probably going to know exactly what I'm going to say. The first thing I'm going to say is the pick and roll defense, as we've come to expect with this Chicago Bulls team, has again been piss poor. And it's been piss poor all season, but this is just another level of piss poor, because we knew that the biggest weakness the Chicago Bulls have is pick and roll defense, and we knew the biggest threat between the Utah Jazz is their pick and roll offense. So it was a match made for disaster, but Utah's pick and roll defense I don't think is terrifically good either. They got Rudy Gobert that's pretty much only guarding the paint. We could have had a lot of opportunities to take some floaters, take some mid-ranges, kind of exploit how Utah played defense, but we didn't do it enough. We ended up resulting in letting DeMar DeRozan and Zach Lavine take the ball up, take a couple of screens, shoot over a contested player, and then that's it. We go back on defense. That's all our offense really is. We are very unfortunate to not see a lot of these guys step up offensively, but at the end of the day, we are playing too much hero ball for us to win any of these games. We can't keep relying on two individuals just dribbling the ball up, one screen or two screens on the shot clock and shooting the ball. In some instances, they don't even pass the ball. It's literally DeMar bringing it up and shooting the ball with no sort of passing whatsoever. And again, we'll get to that a little bit later, but mainly the pick and roll defense was a big issue for the Chicago Bulls, and it showed in Donovan Mitchell's third quarter. It showed throughout the whole game, and I heard Stacey King and the Bulls commentary team pretty much just saying that the pick and rolls wasn't necessarily a big issue in the third quarter of that game. The way that I saw it, the pick and roll defense was the biggest issue in the third quarter that I've seen. This is where I disagree with what the Bulls commentators were saying, because how many times did you see Donovan Mitchell, out of the career-high three-point shooting night that he had against the Chicago Bulls, how many of those times did you see a Bulls player, whether it was Zach Lavine, Kobe White, go underneath a screen? How many times did we see that? And at the end of the day, that is, again, something that the Chicago Bulls, I thought, were trying to stop doing. That's something we saw last season so often. We went underneath the screen. We allowed the three-point shooters to shoot those threes pretty much uncontested. And in all of those things that we were talking about, the first half of the season, Everybody was saying that these Bulls players are going to fight over screens now. They know what it's going to be like to play physical, to play aggressive, to play tough, to get over screens, to put a hand up, to stay in front of your man. None of these things are occurring outside of a few plays for the Chicago Bulls. Alex Caruso got a couple of offensive fouls from moving screens, staying in front of his man. But who else was there? Ayo does it from time to time. Kobe White does it from time to time, but he results in fouling more than he actually defends the player. Zach Lavine didn't do it all game. I think he was the biggest reason as to Donovan Mitchell's big three-point shooting night, because he kept going underneath the screen. And these are lessons for the Chicago Bulls that I thought we learned, but it looks like we have not. And the pick and roll defense and the pick and rolls in total was a weakness for the Chicago Bulls, and it was a big weakness in that third quarter, but it was a weakness throughout the whole game. How many times did you see Rudy Gobert slip a screen and go up for a layup or for a dunk? Yes, he didn't make them. He went to the free throw line more often than he made them, but that is an easy play for Utah. How many times did a pick and roll destroy our defense to a corner three-point shooter? It's always been the pick and roll defense, and that has continued to be a problem until this day. And we still do not find many ways to solve these problems. We resort to drop back defense. How many times did you see a trap on a Utah Jazz player or a blitz on a Utah Jazz player? How many times did you see Vucevic eat up the space in front of the guard? We didn't see any of that for the Chicago Bulls. We related to drop coverage, and it was just too easy for Utah to score. They dropped 125 points on us. It was very easy for them to do that. And again, the fourth quarter was just a big one for the Chicago Bulls. We let that slip away because we were competitive in this game. I can't lie. I can't tell you misleading stories. We competed in this game. I thought we competed very well in this game. We saw Utah commit so many turnovers that we capitalized on. We used our transition game the way that I would have liked to use it all season. We did well in the transition game today. Obviously, Lavine finally had a Lavine-type game where he was just simply making everything he shot up. It was beautiful to see Zach Lavine on the offensive end today. But unfortunately, these problems that we've been seeing all season prevents us from going on win streaks, prevents us from winning these types of games against good oppositions. And again, we now are in a situation where we've lost the game, where the Bulls have continued to lose against the good teams, and the same problems are the reason why. But now let's go into what I was going to talk about earlier, playing hero ball, or in my words, isolation as well. Now, I am not going to change my mind on the point where I think isolation is good in small doses. I think that with the team that we have, our ball movement has to be the top priority. We need to focus on ball movement. We need to focus on making the defense spread the floor and for them to try and, I guess, cover every single aspect of the court. Ball movement does that. Ball movement gets defenses confused. Ball movement at the end of the day makes them scramble. Ball movement is the key, and we have very good players in terms of passing the ball. Ayo Dosunmu has been a fantastic person in terms of using the ball in the pick and roll. He's been phenomenal at it since he's been the starting point guard. Lonzo Ball uses his ball movement for transition plays. He also is a guy that can set up a play when he's in the half-court sets. Same with DeMar DeRozan, to be fair. Same with Zach Lavine. But I'm very, very sick of seeing both of those guys. As good as they are our best players. They deserve a lot of respect. One of them is an MVP caliber player, although I don't think he's going to win MVP with the way that we're losing at this point in time. But those two guys, as good as they are, they should not, both of them, be out dribbling the point guard. The point guard is not the sole responsibility, but he has the bulk of the responsibility to set up guys like DeMar DeRozan, to set up guys like Zach Lavine, to set up guys like Nikola Vucevic. And we're seeing Zach Lavine run the point guard more than Ayo Dosunmu. We're seeing DeMar DeRozan run the point guard more than Ayo Dosunmu. At the end of the day, if you have a point guard, he needs to be used. He needs to be used a lot more than Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan in terms of bringing the ball up and being an on-ball guard. How many times have we seen really poor plays from the Chicago Bulls as well? We result in hero ball, result in DeMar DeRozan getting a pick and roll, getting a defender that can switch onto DeMar DeRozan and for him to take a mid-range shot. It's a great idea, but is that a great idea for 48 minutes? It's not. It's not a great idea for 40 minutes, 48 minutes. Zach Lavine, pick and roll, drive to the basket. I loved Zach Lavine attacking the basket. I will never say anything negatively about Zach Lavine and cutting to the basket. But how many times have we seen throughout the course of the season Zach Lavine take a step back three, take a really poor mid-range shot from a pick and roll, and it results in isolation ball once again, and one person has the ball the whole possession and shooting up a shot? How many times did you see that from Utah today? Because there wasn't that many times. Again, you see the pick and roll going under the screen. You see guys like Mike Conley making you pay and Donovan Mitchell making you pay. But at the end of the day, they resulted in a lot of guys having a lot of the ball. And they were playing very much a team-oriented game compared to how the Bulls were playing. We are playing hero ball and we're playing isolation. It reminds me a lot of the Houston Rockets back in the day with James Harden and Mike D'Antoni as the coach. James Harden's one of the best players, I think, skillfully I've ever seen. And he has an MVP for a reason. He is an amazing player. But the isolation style of play, I personally don't think will ever win you a championship. I think if you add small things to help you in an isolation, if you add a pick and roll, if you add multiple shooters around the team, you get closer to those goals. But isolation alone will never win you a championship. I don't remember any team winning a championship by just being an isolation team. Not many. Very, very few. And if you want to name some of them, feel free. But isolation, in my opinion, cannot win you a championship. And if that's the Bulls' aspiration, then we need a complete and utter style change of how we play. We need the point guards to run the show. We need the point guards to set up Zach Lavine. And I'm talking about those backdoor cuts. You see Miami, you see a bunch of teams use easy backdoor cuts, runs plays for teammates just to get an open layup. How many times have you seen the Chicago Bulls do that this season? Run a backdoor cut, just easy backdoor cut, just an easy cut in total from the top side all the way to the rim. How many times do we see players cut on this team? Not many. Very, very few. Only two players, I say it. Caruso and Javonte Green. I saw Zach Lavine do it once and he didn't get the ball. But outside of that, not many people are cutting to the basket. How many times have you seen the point guard try to enter the ball to DeMar DeRozan in the post? Because I'll tell you what, I didn't see that very often. If DeMar DeRozan enters the post, it's DeMar DeRozan dribbling up the court, going to one side, and entering the post from there. No one passes DeMar DeRozan the ball in the post. No one passes Vucevic the ball in the post. Or Tristan Thompson, any of our big guys do not get post touches. It's easy stuff. It's coaching as well. This is definitely a coaching issue for the Chicago Bulls as well. Billy Donovan's trying to find answers. These are some of the answers that he needs to be looking at. Hero ball will not work. Allowing DeMar DeRozan to dribble up and shoot the ball for 48 minutes will not work. He will get his efficiency, he'll get amazing stats, and of course when teams decide to double or triple team him, he will pass it to the open man, and he does the right decisions. But at the end of the day, we need more than that if we're going to win these important games. We need more than hero ball and isolation and stuff of that nature. That will not win you games, that will not win you a championship. So we need to do better. We need to see guys like Lonzo when he returns run the show. We need to see Ayo Dosunmu run the show. They're the point guards. Let them be their position. There's no point in having a point guard just being a corner shooter for a team. That's really a worst case scenario for a team. Imagine if Mike Conley today is just sitting in the corner because Donovan Mitchell is just, he's the main guy. He's the only one going to take the shots. When Brooklyn have Kevin Durant and Kyrie, Kevin Durant doesn't bring the ball up every single possession. Kyrie has responsibility to do the same thing. He's the point guard. Same with every point guard in the NBA. They have responsibility to bring the ball up. But I don't feel like we do that enough. I feel like we make Zach and DeMar do it way too much and Ayo not enough. And he still gets his 6 assists, Ayo. He's fantastic for assist. He was very good in transition as well. But the point guards are not being point guards on this team. They are being 3-and-D guys at best for half of the possessions that we play. So yeah, look, I could list a bunch of other things. At the end of the day, we lost the game against a very formidable side in the Utah Jazz. I honestly can't say that I expected us to win this game. We haven't beaten Utah in 3 years. Make that 4 years away from home. So what was going to be the difference today, especially with our very poor sense of form? Billy Donovan said he's looking for answers. Again, I really hope he finds those answers, because what we're seeing right now, what we're seeing out of the Chicago Bulls in the March stretch of games, is not the answer. We need to find different solutions in terms of how we're going to win these types of games. We cannot be, this is what my friend and I were talking about before obviously making this video. We can't be one-trick ponies. We are so predictable as a team. We cannot be one-trick ponies, because if we're one-trick ponies now, what makes you think we're not going to be a one-trick pony in the playoffs? Teams will make it very easy to scout us, and they will know our strengths and weaknesses. So being a one-trick pony will not get us anywhere in the playoffs. And I just hope that we can find those solutions. Again, we don't have many games left to go, but these games mean something for the Chicago Bulls. Even if we lose some of these games, let's experiment with some plays, some easy plays. Let's try and get some backdoor cuts. Let's bring the chemistry together and actually do something that's going to be unique for the Chicago Bulls. Make some plays for Zach Lavine off ball. Set an off ball screen for Zach Lavine like what Miami does with Duncan Robinson. Set backdoor cuts. Let double screens happen for the Chicago Bulls and let someone cut from the baseline or someone cut from the top up. Same. And when it comes to the post, if someone's in the post, cut to the basket and see if you can get something going for yourself. We don't do enough of that. We're very stagnant offensively until things change in that area. Defensively, we all know that Lonzo and Patrick Williams will make a huge difference. But even defensively, we have a lot of work to do. But offensively, we continue to be stagnant and play hero ball. I don't think we're going to get very far. We might get into the second round, maybe even the Eastern Conference Finals, which would be a very good establishment for the Chicago Bulls. But at the end of the day, if we're really trying to be a championship level team, these are the things that need to be rectified. And for some teams, it takes longer than others. And sometimes you have to go multiple years to learn these types of things. But we need to start doing it now. We cannot rely on two players playing hero ball for us to start winning these games. The must improve is the whole team defensively. Simple as that. I think we need to do a lot better. And the player of the game is Zach Lavine with his 33. He really had a strong game. But again, it doesn't mean much when we're starting to lose these types of games. It's as simple as that. He's 33, should be in a winning effort. And it wasn't. It just wasn't. We lost the game. Those 33 points mean nothing to the Chicago Bulls now. All it does is bring positivity that he's finally had a 30-piece game, which has been the first time in a long time Zach Lavine's had a 30-point game on his repertoire. But now we've seen that he can do it. We see the Zach Lavine that we saw last season. Now we just need to start bringing these things together. We need to see DeMar DeRozan and Zach Lavine play well at the same time. It's been a long time since we've seen that. We need to see the big three play together play well together for a long period of time. We saw it against Milwaukee in a very tough loss, but we don't see it enough. We don't see Vucevic play well with Zach and DeMar all the time. Very rarely, in fact, do you see those three guys all have a really great game. Because if they did, we would win these games, but we haven't seen it. So these are all things that needs to be changed and improved. I think the bench will improve over time with more players coming into this team. But yeah, it's still a very, very tough situation to put yourself in. So with that being said, our record is 41-28. I believe Boston are up by 20 or so against the Golden State Warriors, and Golden State are an elite team, and Boston are destroying them at the moment. So unless Boston, again, they've been known to not recently, but they've been known to blow big leads. If they blow a big lead against Golden State, the Bulls will remain fourth in the Eastern Conference. But I'm going to take a wild leap here and say I think Boston are going to beat the Golden State Warriors. So Boston are going to overtake us for fourth, and we now sit fifth, and we've lost home court advantage if everything goes the way that it's going at the moment. I see Boston beating the Warriors, and then obviously we fall to fifth and Boston overtake us with more wins and the same amount of losses. So it's a lesson learned for the Chicago Bulls. These difficult times continue to get more difficult. And to be honest, I see the last resort for the Chicago Bulls is finishing fifth. I don't see us going down to sixth with the way Cleveland's struggling, and seventh and eighth. I see the Bulls at worst finishing fifth, and hopefully at their best finishing within third or second, because that's where the Bulls should be. But at the moment, we're going to see the Bulls fall to fifth, in my opinion. Or if they don't fall to fifth, they're very much in that danger territory, that small percentile of falling into fifth. So that's just the way that it is at the moment. And the next game doesn't get any easier against the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns without Chris Paul. So at the end of the day, that's an opportunity for the Chicago Bulls, but Phoenix have won massive amounts of games without Chris Paul already. They continue to win without Chris Paul because they're a very well-structured side. They know what they want out of their players. They know what they're doing on the offensive and defensive end. They have a set way of playing, and it's a really fun watch. Phoenix are one of the most entertaining teams to watch in the NBA. So look, I'm not saying it's impossible that we beat the Phoenix Suns, but it's far from easy, and they did end up embarrassing us at home. Yes, we lost by 3, but that was our reserves pulling a miraculous comeback within 1 minute of gameplay or game time. For the most part, they were up by 20 the whole time against us. So that's an important game, and if we win this game, at least we get something out of this West Coast trip, because it's going to be so frustrating if we walk away with nothing. But at the end of the day, let me ask you this question. Do you think we'll beat the Phoenix Suns? Because I'm going to be honest, the confidence is at an all-time low for the Chicago Bulls. I don't know. I honestly don't know if we're going to beat the Phoenix Suns, but my guess is we're probably not going to. So we'll wait and see. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. It's not all been negative today. We saw some good news about Patrick Williams that I will be talking about in another video. But with all that being said, just have a great day in total. Hopefully this doesn't get you too down, but it's very hard as a Bulls fan to sit here and be happy at the moment. So have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.